A lot of people understand psychologically safe workplaces to mean no matter who's speaking, they feel safe in speaking. I think you need to think about psychologically brave workspaces. It means that no matter what dimensions of diversity I may represent, the intersectionality that I'm bringing to the table, I'm not the one who always needs to be brave in order for you to feel safe in sharing your thoughts and ideas.
Let's return to the intersection we left off at in the last episode, where psychological safety meets DE&I. The workplace is full of points like this, where one important company initiative or policy meets another. We don't have time to get into all of them, but if there's one intersection to use as an example, this is the one. This is Back to Basics. We know what psychological safety means, but let's get a quick refresher on what DE&I mean for your organization.
Diversity is who is here and what are the components of how they would describe themselves.
When diversity is prioritized, a group represents and welcomes a mix of cultures, races, ethnicities, genders, sexual orientations, religions, mindsets, and every other category characteristic out there.
When we're talking about equity, I think what's important to note is how it's different from equality. Equality says everybody gets the same thing. Equity says everybody gets what they need.
There's an image on the internet about these three people who are standing outside of a baseball stadium, and they're trying to watch the game from outside. There's like a little picket fence dividing the field from these bystanders. And each of them is given a box to stand on so that they can look over the fence and watch the game. The problem is that they're three different heights. So equality is giving everyone the same size box, whereas equity is recognizing that we all start life and live life with different opportunities and different resources.
Talking about inclusion, I actually like to pair that against integration. Integration in an organization sounds like we are so excited to bring you on board. You have new, fresh thoughts and ideas, but first we need you to learn how we do things here. And then 6 months later, it's the same conversation of, I don't know if you're a fit because it seems like you're struggling to understand how we're doing things here. Inclusion says, we brought you in for these new ideas. This is amazing. While I'm helping you to learn the ropes of how things work here, I also don't want to stifle you in thinking about and how they could work differently. And let's figure out how we can have that conversation effectively.
When all of these things, equity, diversity, inclusion, are prioritized, I think that they create an environment where people can express themselves fully. They contribute to a feeling of psychological safety, and that allows us to have difficult conversations and make meaningful changes and ultimately improve people's lives and improve society, if I may go that far.
How people show up physically at work is the first way you see them. It's the first way they present themselves to you. And so I think you have to be really careful how you respond to that. Please don't call my cornrows something that is from my African heritage, my vacation hair. Like, this is not my vacation hair. This is my life. And all of those subtle things, even though they're unintentional, the way you respond to me or, talk to me, those things can come across in a way that says, hey, I am othered here. It's not okay to be my full and authentic self. And each one of those is like a paper cut. And every time one of those things happen, people withdraw bit by bit until you can no longer reach them. And that's not good for anybody.
Word choice plays a huge role in creating an inclusive environment and establishing psychological safety. Beyond blatantly offensive words, it more commonly exposes gaps in awareness to help us all learn something. Some of those words and sentiments that slightly miss the mark can be hard to suss out, but not impossible.
Natural language processing is a very interesting and interdisciplinary field. It allows computers to process and analyze natural human language. What that means in natural human language is that by using NLP techniques, we can analyze huge volumes of text data to identify words, phrases, patterns, themes. We can organize text information and we can glean meaningful insights from it. The Inclusion Advisor is a tool that helps users check their language for inclusivity in real time. The user would click the Inclusion Advisor button, and if language is flagged in their message, then they would be given an explanation of how this language, how this wording could be perceived, as well as very specific suggestions for how to make their message more inclusive and ultimately to send the message that they intended to send.
Tools like the Inclusion Advisor also catch words and phrases with racial and ableist origins, all in the hopes of steering us in a more inclusive direction with the words we use.
This is not the language police. This is not like, oh, we caught you, you're bad. No. It's about giving people the opportunity to learn about things in a safe space where they don't feel like they're being attacked.
The good news is that the right words to inspire, instill confidence, establish psychological safety and bravery might be easier than you think.
In our research, what we see is that people who are recognized most recently and more often also report the highest levels of psychological safety. Why might that be? Well, organizations can strategically use recognition to reinforce those behaviors that create psychological safety. So if you speak up with an idea, even if it doesn't work, you can reinforce that. You can reinforce people contributing to a meeting. You can also use recognition of what people accomplish outside of work in order to make them feel psychologically safe.
Thank yous and expressions of appreciation increase psychological safety, reduce stress, and make your company a place where people feel connected, see paths to grow, and trust leadership. But to harness the power of thank you, you first need to know how and when to say it. And that's next time on Back to Basics.